This is just a place. That's the epitaph on the grave monument of renowned poet A.R. Archie Ammons, born 1926, died 2001, and his wife Phyllis Plumbo Ammons, born 1923, died 2013. It's also the first line from Ammons's poem, In Memoriam Me Noblet. In memoriam is a Latin phrase meaning in memory of, that has for centuries been used on gravestones. It's also used, as it is by Ammons in the Me Noblet poem, as a literary dedication to a particular person. Ammons wrote In Memoriam Me Noblet in 1979 to commemorate Ithaca artist May Ferris Noblet. Noblet was born in South Carolina in 1937 and died in Ithaca on February 3, 1979, at only 41 years old. Her survivors included her husband, Cornell linguist James S. Noblet, and two children, Julia and James. Ammons arranged for the poem to first appear in print as the preface to a limited edition of Noblet's collected poems titled Poems in Waiting. The chapbook accompanied a retrospective of Noblet's paintings at the Ithaca House Gallery in June 1979. The poem later appeared in Ammons's A Coast of Trees, published in 1981, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award. The poem was also included in Volume 2 of Ammons's collected works. Notably, In Memoriam Me Noblet was also read at one of the many memorial tributes dedicated to Ammons after his death in 2001. The poem is a memorial for Noblet. It also reads as a form of consolation for the bereaved. Ammons starts the poem by situating the mourners in a place, on a planet orbiting the sun with its natural rhythms of day and night and seasonal changes, patterns of ocean and air currents, designs of living things from the micro to the macroscopic. Ammons views us as oriented to the heavens since, quote, deep space begins at our heels and, quote, sight's silk almost draws us away. Then Ammons shifts from nature to a focus on human emotion, to the love and the grief that, quote, like currents whine in and out among us merely as we arrive and go. The final section offers the consolation that, quote, our home which defines us is elsewhere, but not so far away we have forgotten it. That defining home could well be a secular vision of our place in the natural world and its cycle of life and death. Or it could be interpreted as a spiritual afterlife, like the traditional hymn that counsels Christians not to fear the grave because, quote, it's just a place to spend the night, a place to rest before our flight to heaven. The Geographic Society of Chicago called Archie Ammons, quote, one of history's preeminent walking poets. He was known to compose a poem as he walked, usually incorporating details from the natural world, filtered through his scientific background and philosophical leanings. He depicted Ithaca's Cascadilla Falls, Triphammer Falls, and other Tompkins County places in his work. One could well imagine him walking from his home at 606 Hanshaw Road to Pleasant Grove Cemetery and musing about this place. Essayist Stephen Burt notes that In Memoriam Me Noblet reminds us that, quote, the cemetery is only one of the places we sometimes go, mourning just one of the moods we can harbor, even though while we mourn it feels like the only one. The poem as such can be read as a gift of human connection from Archie Ammons to his friends, the Noblet family, and to all those grappling with loss.